What's up? What's up, beautiful souls? Welcome to another episode of the Spiritual Psychiatrist podcast. Today, we have the guest of honor, certified badass, genius naturopath, co-owner of both of our companies, Transcendence Mental Health and Practical Peptides, and super happy to be on the show today with Nicole Zeiner. Welcome to the show, Nicole.
Thank you. Super grateful to be here. It's been awesome watching your growth with the podcast and the info that you've been getting out to all your followers. So yeah, it's a joy and an honor to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you. I'm super excited today because, first of all, Nicole is, she's been studying about supplements for such a long time. She amazing at functional health. She's has amazing a knowledge base of health in general, but also holistic health, functional health, and she's been nerding out on ways to heal the physical body for a long time. She's been helping me, and she's been also doing so many beautiful things for our company. And one of the most exciting things that we're creating right now is peptides. And so you guys might have heard about the peptides. It's kind of like the wild west right now, where people are just starting to learn about it. And I've learned from personal experience that there's a tremendous potential to help our bodies, our physical bodies, heal, to lose weight naturally, to have energy. And anytime I can find some type of a way to improve my clarity and my physical health, I'm all about it. So super excited to delve in. If you've been curious about peptides, and if they're for you, there's going to be a lot of good information in this show. Hopefully you guys can gain an insight or two. So let's delve right into it. Nicole, for those people out there, what are peptides?
Yeah, so they're definitely a hot topic right now, especially some of the more weight loss oriented peptides. But peptides are signaling molecules in our bodies. So I think one that people are more familiar with is insulin. And really, what the basis of peptides are is a sequence of amino acids. So proteins, like the protein that we eat in food, it gets broken down into little like beads, little molecules. And when those are sequenced together, they act as signals in the body. And so really what peptides are is just signals. So it's like a light switch in your body. If you flip the light switch, a reaction happens. And people are familiar with insulin because you take insulin and it lowers your blood sugar. But there's actually just so many peptides that do so many things in the body. And some are really great for weight loss. So some peptides, the switch that's flipped is reducing hunger. And those are the GLP-1 agonists. But there's also ones that improve cognitive function, that signal your body to promote growth hormone, to release growth hormone, which helps your body sleep deeper, put on muscle mass, and again, improve cognitive function. Some help your body repair. So, BPC-157, that's really great for signaling repair. All of these have really pluripotent effects, these peptides. So what that means is they affect multiple pathways in your body too. So the great thing about peptides is that some of the side effects, quote unquote, of the peptides are actually benefits. So for GLP-1 agonists, for example, people take them for weight loss, but they actually increase or they benefit the immune system. So they are helpful for autoimmune disorders, and they can also reduce inflammation. So yeah, they're signals in your body, really naturally occurring compounds. And we're just now learning sort of the art of peptides, but the science has been there for over 100 years.
Amazing. So yeah, that was a lot of information, and I love that. And so it sounds like there's tremendous potential with peptides. And if I'm hearing correctly, they're short chain amino acids that act as like signals in the body to signal certain switches, such as reducing hunger, building muscle, and some of the side effects that come from these signals also can be mutually beneficial. And so that's exciting. And so I want to dive in to certain peptides and go a little bit deeper so that people can understand, what each peptide is and what they do. So want to dive into GLP-1, I think you said agonist, and I know I'm seeing pictures like online where people are like literally, they're losing weight, their waist size has gone down, but they don't seem unhealthy. They still seem healthy. It looks like they're losing weight in a natural way. And I know our bestseller is Semaglutide, and it seems like people continue to repeat purchase that. And we're literally having testimonials. And the thing that I love the most is when people like not only show that they're losing inches off their waist, but they also say, I'm feeling better. And it's boosting self-esteem, and they're losing weight. And so I've read some of those testimonials, and I know it's our bestseller, Semaglutide. Nicole, can you tell us a little bit more about Semaglutide, and for those people out there yet?
Sure. Yeah. And perhaps I can start with a little bit about my background with weight loss. So I've been working in integrative medicine, and I've been a naturopath and also on the admin side for about 10 years. And so in my previous life, before I was working with
Mhm.
Transcendence Mental Health and Practical Peptides, I was health program director for a network of integrative medicine clinics. And as health program director, I co-created with some of the best and brightest minds in integrative health, weight loss programs and programs to help people put on muscle and improve cognitive function. And I really got to work with some of the best doctors in the world on what their secret sauce was, and really take the best supplements, the best IVs, the best peptides and
Mhm.
stem cells, and not only work with over 10,000 patients, but I got to actually study. I also ran the research department. So, that's one thing to hear someone, a doctor say or a clinician say, oh my gosh, I had this amazing result with weight loss or with improving cognitive function. But I actually got to see the numbers with, tens of thousands of patients. And so with working one-on-one with patients and, seeing the clinical data, I got to see firsthand how incredible peptides were and these GLP-1 agonists were, not only for, just the results, like you said, like the weight loss, the inches, but also just for patient results and patients changing their lives. And so,
Mhm.
I worked with countless patients that did everything right. Like we all know what to do with weight loss. You eat the right things, you move your body. There's supplements that can help, in ways. But the way that it moved the needle for people and the amount of discipline that it took, it's not sustainable for a lot of people, unfortunately. I know there's a lot of controversial opinions with GLP-1 agonists. Some people just saying like, oh, you should just eat right. But if that advice worked, then we wouldn't have an obesity
Mhm.
problem in America and
Mhm.
worldwide. And so, yeah, the reason why I'm so passionate about peptides is because I saw firsthand, if I would take away all my tools other than peptides. Peptides, if I, had to give up all my tools except for one, I would choose peptides just because
Wow.
of how quickly and efficiently and, sustainably they move the needle for patients' health. And so with GLP-1 agonists in particular, yeah, I've just seen amazing success stories of people that have struggled and really tried to do the right things in terms of weight loss. And they start on a GLP-1 agonist, and suddenly their hunger is reduced, their inflammation is down. The way that it's been described to me by a patient recently was that they finally feel like a normal person in terms of
Wow.
not having food chatter, the food noise, constantly
Mm.
every moment of the day, just thinking about food. And, I think that in a way, we're telling people just to muscle through it and white knuckle these food cravings, but we're also biologically different. And I do think that there is such a thing as GLP-1 deficiency. Some of us just don't have enough of this neurochemical in our brains that reduces appetite. And so yeah, it is a bestseller, and it's definitely become popularized because Oprah Winfrey is using it. There's
Mhm.
rumors about Kim Kardashian using it. That's not confirmed. But you can just see in popular culture, people are finally taking control of their health and feeling good in their
Mhm.
bodies. And, you know, it might be a crutch, but it's also something that is really helping people and changing people's lives. And so
Mhm.
yeah, definitely a bestseller for us, and a ton of downstream benefits in the
Yeah.
body as well, other than just weight loss.
Yeah, that's amazing because I didn't know that you were literally program director for 10 years, and you were literally not only that, but you were seeing the research and you were trying supplements, you were trying diet and exercise, you were trying all these different things and firsthand through those 10 years. It was really profound that you said actually you can take away all those tools because you have a lot of tools. I know you do, but like don't take away the peptides because you're really seeing that it switches on for people the reduced hunger in a way that is sustainable. Although some people might call it a crutch, but it also helps them feel better and it works. And it works. And so that's really beautiful. And I'm seeing it. I'm seeing the testimonies and everything like that. So I love that you're passionate about this and have firsthand experience with this. Um, can you take us a little bit into GLP? Does that something like is that glucagon like peptide? And what exactly does that do? The semaglutide, kind of like the nerdy aspect of GLP-1 agonists and semaglutide.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, so I'm a biochemist at heart, so I do love, the
Hmm.
metabolism of things and really in the cellular mechanics of how these peptides work. And so with the GLP-1 agonists, they really communicate with the hunger centers of the brain. So they help on a cellular level
Hmm.
really calm down the hunger signals that you're receiving. But that's only really one of the effects of the GLP-1 agonists. So another effect is it affects how the pancreas releases insulin. So you're releasing just the right amount of insulin when when your blood sugar is spiking. So that's a benefit of that. And then another one is that it delays gastric emptying. So
Hmm.
food enters your lower intestine a little bit slower, and that reduces the amount of insulin spike after meals. Less insulin spike means less fat. When your insulin spikes,
Hmm.
then your body shuttles sugar into your fat cells. So yeah, and multi-prong approach to how it affects weight loss. And then
Hmm.
another aspect is it actually affects how your your body processes fat
Hmm.
and stores fat. So there are those benefits. Another cool aspect of GLP-1 agonists that is sort of like a side effect but a benefit is
Hmm.
there's multiple GLP-1 receptors, and even
Hmm.
in medications that or there's certain types of GLP-1 agonists that don't actually affect weight loss, but they still hit the GLP-1 receptors. And even in those medications, there are cardiovascular benefits. So with all GLP-1 agonists, they saw that when people take things like semaglutide, terzepatide, that
Hmm.
cardiovascular events go down. There's a
Hmm.
large study that there was a 26% reduction in cardiovascular events like
Wow.
stroke, heart attack, deaths. And
Hmm.
it's common for people to think like, okay, people are losing weight, so that's why their cardiovascular events are going down. But even in those medications that actually they hit the GLP-1 receptors, but not the ones that affect weight loss, they're still seeing those cardiovascular benefits. And so what that's saying is that
Hmm.
even outside of weight loss, these GLP-1
Hmm.
medications are benefiting the cardiovascular system. So
Wow.
that's, yeah, another cool aspect of them.
Wow. So literally, you take the semaglutide and the GLP-1 agonists go to work, and it's literally reducing the craving for hunger in the brain. It's kind of regulating the insulin release from the pancreas. So I know I've heard that some people are having, not only weight loss but help with their diabetes. Because it's literally helping the insulin levels. It's delaying the gastric emptying, which decreases sugar spikes, which so then I know sugar spikes often are what leads to people being hangry or moody, and so it can also help with that. But you're saying that the number one cause of death in America is heart disease, but not only is it helping them lose weight, it's also some studies show 26% reduction in cardiovascular events. Now I know, like, there's probably some people who are skeptical because they're like, oh, too good to be true. But I know there's been a lot of kind of like weight loss fads that come and go. And sometimes you'll see, like, in the 90s, there was like people losing weight and like whatever the medicine, but it was causing like a bunch of side effects, and they were pale and they didn't look healthy and they looked like they were losing weight, but like they just didn't look healthy. But this seems to be different. And correct me if I'm wrong. What are the side effects? What do people have to be careful of? Because when I see the people who are losing weight, they don't actually look pale and sickly. They actually look empowered, is what I'm seeing from my visuals. Can you tell us a little bit about any caution associated with this, and like, yeah, overall kind of what you see, any cautions associated with GLP-1 agonists?
Yeah, that's a good point. And actually, um, to touch on the diabetes benefit, that actually is what the medication was first invented for.
Mm-hmm.
Semaglutide back in 2012 was diabetes. So yeah, the first and foremost benefit is actually diabetes, but we're finding all these
Wow.
like off-label benefits. And then you're talking about, the kind of sickly, 90s medications. Likely
Mm-hmm.
those were stimulants, things like phentermine, where people are just kind of
Mm-hmm.
jacking up their bodies, uh,
Mm-hmm.
like dopamine and norepinephrine, and just really stimulating and overstimulating a lot of the body's excitatory neurotransmitters and causing a reduction in hunger. But then yeah, those people are kind of, for not a medical term, but kind of cracked out. They're just,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
they're not eating right. When they are eating, it's likely sugar. Yeah, so the way that this is different is that our body doesn't produce you know stimulants like that naturally, to promote weight loss, but what our body does promote or produce is these hunger reduction signals. So our body, these GLP-1 receptors or molecules, they're actually mimicking a naturally produced signal in our body that is released when we're
Mm-hmm.
full. So when we eat a big meal, our body actually releases GLP-1 hormones, and that reduces our hunger. But normally
Mm-hmm.
those are only around for about 5 minutes, and then they dissipate. Whereas the semaglutide and terzepatide, they're a little bit modified, so they hang around for about 7 days. So
Mm-hmm.
the way that it's different is that it's not a stimulant; it's actually mimicking our body's own signals of being full, and so
Mm-hmm.
it's more of like a natural approach to hunger.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, that makes sense. So instead of like putting the body in an unnatural state of excitement and where you're just super excited and not hungry, it's actually mimicking the body's natural signal of which the body already produces to produce satiation and all of the other benefits associated with it. Amazing. Now, I know some people also buy, I know there's one called Tirzepatide. So is there any difference for weight loss, Tirzepatide? Some people prefer that, some people, but most people are buying semaglutide. Can you explain kind of, I think they're both GLP-1, but like, can you explain the difference between those two?
Yeah. So Tirzepatide is a dual agonist, is what it's called. So it actually hits two different receptor types, the GLP-1 and the GIP receptor. So
Mm-hmm.
two different receptor types. In studies, the Tirzepatide medication has more significant weight loss. So the GIP actually affects metabolism even
Mm-hmm.
more in depth. So in studies of about a little over a year of people taking the medications, these are large studies, Tirzepatide has about a 22% weight loss. 22% of body fat was lost, whereas semaglutide is about 15% of body fat. So a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
fat loss with Tirzepatide. And then with the Tirzepatide, there's less reports of side effects. So
Mm-hmm.
things like nausea, constipation, things like that, which I will say, just a shout out to Practical Peptides. We have an
Yeah.
amazing team of practitioners that have been working with these peptides for a very long time, and we have a ton of training materials not only for our practitioners but also a ton of educational materials for our patients. And one thing that is a little bit different about how we prescribe these peptides is we start super low, and so
Mm-hmm.
a lot of these side effects that people are more familiar with, like nausea, um,
Mm-hmm.
those are common when you're starting at a higher dose. And
Mm-hmm.
some doctors, from what I've seen from experience, they think patients are losing weight on these medications because they're too nauseous to eat. And so they'll start patients on a super high dose because they're like, oh, I want
Mm-hmm.
them to be nauseous so that they're not eating. But they don't understand that actually there's like, so many weight loss effects, like pluripotent weight loss effects from the GLP-1 medications, that they can start on
Mm-hmm.
almost like a microdose of what is typically prescribed, which saves money to the patient and then also reduces these side effects that people are more familiar with.
Hmm. Okay, that makes sense. So Tirzepatide is also for weight loss, and some studies show instead of 15%, 22%, but it also works on another receptor site, a signal, if you want to call it, which reduces fat. And so it's also decreasing fat. And yeah, I also want to shout out Practical Peptides because I know a lot of people out there right now are going and buying really cheap peptides at research-based chemicals, which say not for human consumption, and they're not even to be consumed by humans because they haven't been third-party tested. They haven't been meticulously examined for quality. Some of them, I don't want to say all of them, but with practical peptides, there's a board-certified psychiatrist behind it, which is me. But there's also you and Danielle have been putting in, and you guys love peptides, passionate about peptides, have been putting in so much energy, love, and work to create what I believe is, such a beautiful company on the back end, ordered from either pure pharmaceutical grade peptides, which Andrew Huberman recently released a podcast, and he said he does not recommend anybody buying from a research-based company just because it's not third-party tested. You don't know if they have lipopolysaccharides in it, and if those lipopolysaccharides build up, it can cause different side effects. And so I know with practical peptides, you guys have put in so much work so that it's a smooth experience. There's a provider consult and education provided. There's educational materials provided, and everything on the back end is set up from high quality labs or pure compound grade pharmacies, which have been third party tested, meticulously examined. And then also, I just got feedback from my friend Leo, who ordered one, and he said the experience was smooth, and it's delivered straight to your door. And some of them you don't have to reconstitute, which means you don't have to like take all this crap and blend them, especially our focus blend, Semax Selank. But it seems like it's a smoother experience, customer service experience, and you can just literally receive it straight from your home, straight from the lab with educational material provided. And it seems to be a really smooth experience for most everybody involved. And that's the direction that we decided to go as a company: quality, as well as education, as well as making sure that people are receiving the best quality and consistency over a long period of time. And a lot of these research, based peptides, they seem to sometimes come and go because they can be shut down or whatever it is. But we've set it up in a way that we're going to be here because we're doing everything by the law, lawfully, and with quality. And so, Nicole, can you tell us a little bit about kind of how you set up practical peptides and some of the things I just said, and just kind of what the love that you put into practical peptides, the whole experience?
Yeah, no, practical peptides has definitely been a labor of love for everyone involved, and it really
Mm-hmm.
stemmed, the idea for practical peptides stemmed for, exactly what I described to you with my history in integrative and regenerative medicine, and that it, as I saw the amazing effects of peptides, I also saw that they're very expensive for patients to get access to. And when providers were prescribing them, they would just, give them a vial and, send them on their way. And I saw how confusing they could be, like the micrograms, which was
Mm-hmm.
milligrams dosing, and, the syringes and reconstituting and all that. And then also, even with semaglutide and the other peptides, it is important to have lifestyle changes in conjunction with those peptides
Mm-hmm.
for lasting results and to get the most out of them. And so I really saw an opportunity to help people transform their health in a meaningful way, by providing affordable, consistent, easy to access peptides. And so in the clinical world, normally to get access to peptides, you have to, go into a doctor's office, pay for a visit, get labs drawn, um, you know, wait for the lab results, go back, have another visit, and then, perhaps get a prescription for peptides, which then they upcharge you quite a bit, to the tune of thousands of dollars a month, and, kind of rinse and repeat with multiple doctor visits. And so I really saw an opportunity to simplify that process. And especially with the transformative work that we're doing with Transcendence mental health, where people are really, just completely changing the way that they view themselves and, their environment, and, just really transforming their mental health. But then they were sort of going back into these bodies that were overweight and had, aches and pains and, just, not sleeping well and, brain fog and things like that. We both decided we're like, we really want to help people transform not only their mental and spiritual health, but also their physical health. And so with practical peptides, our main goal for the company and what drives every decision is really just how can we educate people and provide the most affordable, the highest quality peptides on the market. and, really streamline that experience for people. So yeah, definitely been, like I said, it's been a lot. We really emphasize educational materials, and it's a lot easier to just provide, the vial of peptides and send people on their way. But we're really invested in helping people get the most out of their programs, and really,
Mhm.
you know, see those changes go into the rest of their lives.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. I love that. And that love that you put in is palpable in the experience of the customer, the feedback that we're receiving. And so if I heard you correctly, like, in the day, in order to get these pure pharmacy grade pharmaceutical, pure third party tested peptides, you have to go to the doctor, get your labs run, come back, and then go back again and get prescribed, and then receive it and pay a high charge, which like literally most of society could not afford. And so, with that intention in mind that these are helping people, how can we get it to people? Can you walk us through the practical peptides experience from how you order it to what's going to happen on the back end, and then when you're going to receive it, and just the educational material? Like, can you walk us through, for those people who might be interested in ordering peptides from Practical Peptides, the kind of the streamlined experience that they would flow through?
Sure. Yeah, and I think when most people approach peptides, there's kind of two groups of people. One group are the people that are,
Hmm.
super educated on peptides. They've been listening to the podcasts and, reading articles and things like that, and looking at the research, and so they already know which peptides they want, and they're just ready to go.
Hmm.
They just need access to
Hmm.
them. And so for those people, then they can, just go to Practical Peptides, pick which peptide they want, and purchase. And once they purchase the peptide, they immediately get texted a link to sign up for their provider consult. So because they are prescription medications,
Hmm.
they have to do a health history and a 15-minute consult. So we keep it brief. We provide a ton of educational materials to help get people started, and they meet with a provider, which goes over all of the dosing and lifestyle recommendations, and really gets them set up to succeed on their peptides.
Mm.
So simple as that. So if you already know what you want, you just, click purchase, have your provider consult, and then it's overnight shipped to your door. So we call it into a US based pharmacy, like we said, like,
Hmm.
very high quality, purity and concentration guaranteed. And then it's shipped to your door with, for the other group of people that are just, they know that they want to start on peptides
Hmm.
and they have weight to lose. They
Hmm.
want to, sleep deeper, and they have maybe injuries that they want to,
Hmm.
repair, or inflammation, but they just don't know which one. A lot of these peptides have like funky names, and so
Hmm.
that's
Hmm.
not super clear when you're looking at them. Then we offer a 15-minute consult. So
Hmm.
there's a couple links on our website where you can click and book a consult. And while they can't provide medical advice on those consults, they can really steer you towards which peptide would be a good fit
Hmm.
for you. So that's an awesome opportunity to help get a little bit of education before you decide. And then once you
Hmm.
know which peptide would be a best fit for your health goals, then you can go ahead and click purchase, have your medical visit, and then that peptide is shipped
Hmm.
directly to your door with all the supplies, all the instructions that you need to get
Hmm.
started.
Cool. Yeah. So it sounds like there's two options. One is like, if you already know what you want, you just go online to Practical Peptides, click and order, and then you'll get texted a link to have a 15-minute consult, and then the peptide pure quality will be shipped overnight to you and received. Or if you're like, hey, I kind of don't know exactly which one I want to choose, you guys can go and there's a provider consultation on Practical Peptides, and click on there, have a provider consult, receive the education, and then make an educated decision about what peptide might be good for you. And then you literally then you purchase the peptide, you receive it, and it comes. I love that you guys, the boxes look dope, but then also like there's it comes with everything you need to get started. It comes with the needles, it comes with the instructions, it comes with everything that you need, and so you can literally get started on it right away. Cool. Okay, I want to flow over to one of my favorites, and it's called NAD.
Mm.
And I use it for energy. I know a lot of people are using for anti-aging after the age of 40. But I was first introduced to NAD when you gave me a treatment. I remember I did the I was doing pull-ups at the time, and I did like 11 pull-ups. And the next day after the treatment that you gave me, it was IV treatment. I did 15 pull-ups, and I was like, "What in the world?" Right? Like my energy levels were just increased, and it was palpable. And also, right after I receive an NAD IV, I feel very, very clear mentally, and that's like one of my favorite feelings is feeling clear. And so I travel with a little bottle of NAD, and I actually take a microdose instead of going to the IV clinic, which I still, I get it from you every once in a while, like a big IV flood dose. But I also take the little bottle with me, and I take like a microdose with an insulin needle, and it just kind of keeps my energy levels smooth. And I know it's like it's getting popular now, and people are using it for anti-aging, longevity, energy, cellular repair, all different types of things. Can you tell us a little bit about NAD?
Yeah. Yeah, I know you're a huge fan of NAD, and it's also one of my favorites. It's something I've been working with for basically my whole career. I was first introduced to NAD with a high dose NAD IV addiction treatment protocol that we used at one of the previous clinics that I worked with. And we'd use high dose NAD for 10 days. And what I saw with addiction patients was really miraculous. The way that it was described to me with patients that have been struggling with addiction for decades, and we're just struggling with constant cravings and brain fog, and really just not able to function cognitively. By day 3 of the high dose NAD IVs, it was described to me by a patient once as if it felt like his soul came back into his body.
Wow.
And yeah, we actually started a couple of addiction clinics using that IV protocol as the basis of the clinics, because it was so effective in turning people's brains on, that had been offline. And, addiction, there's so many root causes, but one is self-medicating deficiencies and imbalances in the brain. And so NAD is just incredible for brain health. And what it really is a cofactor that helps your every little energy factory, every mitochondria in your body, in your cells, produce energy. So it really just ramps up energy production in every cell of your body. And we have some of the most neurons in every cell in our brain cells and in our heart cells, also in ovary cells too for women. And so really when we're taking NAD, it's boosting cognitive health, it's boosting your detox processes, improving heart health, energy, helping with sleep, with your circadian rhythm. So yeah, like you said, NAD decreases as we get older. So, someone in their 20s might not notice a massive difference with supplementing NAD unless they're super depleted or struggling with addiction, which, depletes NAD stores. But yeah, definitely people in their 30s and above can, it's a palpable difference taking NAD. And I also travel with NAD and do nasal sprays as well. So one of my favorites as well.
Cool. And I just want to kind of reiterate, like, we haven't done it too many times, but we've done, I've been there when we've done a 10-day NAD high dose protocol for addiction. And I know as a psychiatrist in the addiction world, there's not very many, people just cycle in and out of addiction centers again and again and again because they're not treating the root cause. Yes, you can do therapy. Yes, you can do counseling. Yes, you can take over-the-counter medications and prescribe medications, but it's not treating the root cause. And if I hear you correctly, some people on the third day are saying, because you used to work with this 10-day high dose NAD all over the world and traveling and using this for 10 years, they feel like their soul has come back into their body. And I just want to riff on that a little bit, because from my perspective, the root cause of addiction is usually underlying trauma. And trauma in the body can sometimes cause soul fragmentation. Where there's a part of the body that is really dense. Some people will see it as a black shadowy energy, and there's a trauma there, and a co-resonant frequency entity, if you want to call it, can latch onto that, which is going to cause severe pain and also more of the addictive qualities. And it sounds like in this high dose 10-day NAD IV therapy and Transcendence Mental Health, we do offer this for addiction, is 10 days of really high dose. We don't do it often, but for those people who are really called and can afford it, because in the long run, we feel like it's really, really helping exactly what Dr. Nicole said. It's helping repair the brain. It's helping every single cell as a cofactor regulate energy, and the body is intelligent and knows what to do with that energy. And it sounds like also on the physical is connected to the emotional, is connected to the mental, is connected to the spiritual. On some level, the physical repair of the cells is causing that dense energy or entity to somehow be released and causing sometimes the soul to come back into it. And when that happens, the addiction is released. So that's kind of riffing off of what you said there. But so anti-aging, heart health, brain health, addiction. And so we have on our website there, NAD, for those people who feel called to experience that, is also on our website at practicalpeptides.com. What's up, beautiful souls? Shout out to the sponsor for this episode, Practical Peptides. It's a peptide company, and I'm part owner of it. And we have a new product, man, and I'm super excited to announce this new product. It's called Focus Blend. It's a combination of Semax and Selank, high quality peptides from a high quality lab, which does third-party testing. And I tried it out for the first time this morning, and you spray one spray into each nostril, and literally, I love products like this. Within 5 minutes, I could feel it infusing into my brain. And within 5 minutes, I was in flow state. I was calm. I was present. I was having a conversation. And when you're just calm and locked in. So I really love this product. And so I'm super excited to share it with you. It's called Focus Blend, www.practicalpeptides.com. You can use code Dr. Lee. We'll put it in the show notes for 10% off. And usually it'll ship to you within, 5 to 7 days or something like that. It's a 2-month supply. So you literally spray one in each nostril. So if it was me, I would use it for, just to get into flow state, but also for, it can be helpful for mild lift in mood. It can also be helpful for mild ADHD if you're having trouble concentrating, if you want clarity. And some people say it can really help with mild anxiety as well, just kind of get you into the present moment. So check it out, www.practicalpeptides.com, Focus Blend, use code Dr. Lee for 10% off. Check out the show notes. We'll put a direct link in there. Peace. All right. So I want to focus on my current favorite blend. It's an intranasal spray. And remember I said my favorite feeling is feeling clear. It's a combination of Semax and Selank. And I also love products that I can feel, like I can significantly feel that when I spray one in the left, one in the right. Sometimes I'll do two, but literally it like it kind of lifts my mood a little bit, but I also feel very clear. And from that place, I can co-create, I can do, whatever it is. But yeah, can you tell us a little bit, Nicole, about Semax Selank and our new Focus nasal spray?
Sure. Yeah, that's one I've been super excited about as well. And just going to the sort of the spiritual, physical, emotional connection that you were talking about. I think the goal of all of this work really is to strengthen our physical vessels so that we're able to impart more change into this world. Like if we're not feeling well physically, if our hormones are imbalanced, if we don't have enough testosterone or enough energy in our cells, we're really not able to make change in the world. And so I think the goal of all of this is to help to revitalize the body so that our physical vessel is strong and we're able to to be change makers, and support our community. So that's, thanks for bringing that up. And that's something that you've definitely taught me more about, is things about like the spiritual connection to our physical health, which is just as important. Really, like the root of all dis-ease starts one layer deeper than our physical health. So yeah, really important as we're talking about all these physical treatments. With the Focus Blend, that's one that we've really been excited to release, in a big part because it's been very challenging to get a hold of some of these peptides more recently with some of the FDA changes. And so yeah, the Focus Blend is a blend of Cmax and Selank. It's a nasal spray, so super quick absorption. And like you said, those two peptides are amazing for cognitive function. And the blend of them is awesome because Cmax is
Mm,
more of like the cognitive enhancer. It boosts some of your focus and more energizing neurotransmitters like dopamine and even serotonin for mood. So that one was actually both of these were invented in the 1980s back in Russia. And
mhm,
actually, the Russians have been crushing it with
mhm,
peptides and not only the development of them, but use in public health. So
mm,
they've been approved for things like recovery from stroke and all sorts of repair of the nervous
mm,
system and also ADHD and mood disorders. So really, they actually use them in space for for astronauts that are
mm,
under a lot of stress as they're like re-entering the
mm,
atmosphere and when they really need to be sharp but
mm,
they're under a lot of stress. So Cmax and
mhm,
Slank are both used for those purposes. But yeah, now more so gaining popularity in the US as people learn and try out the peptides
mm.
because these are, I think we're both fans of things that we can feel. I don't think there's many things
Yeah.
that you and I take daily or really take ever that we can't feel or notice a benefit to. And Cmax and Slank are ones
Mhm,
that, you take, especially in the nasal spray form, and you notice focus
mm,
and improve mood. And so, yeah, it's been one that's been awesome for people that, struggle with anxiety or
mm,
ADHD or are recovering from any sort of like brain trauma, you know, TBI, things like that. So really noticeable effects.
Wow. Okay, beautiful. Man, shout out to the Russians.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, like on Reddit, like yeah, my friend was saying he used to order it from Russia in the 80s, but like I love what you said that, and I wish that I would have had these tools when I was working in LA as a psychiatrist. Like literally for mild ADHD, like literally within 5 minutes, like it's absorbed into the brain, and like literally you're clear and focused, like those astronauts. And then also I did notice like a little boost in mood as well. And then I did notice also, yeah, and so yeah, I think it's such a powerful treatment for some people who have trouble focusing, concentrating, who need a little bit of a lift in mood, and it works. You can actually, it's felt. So yeah, we just launched this. So shout out to Nicole and Danielle for all of the love and effort you put into launching this product. It's called Focus Blend. Semax Selank intranasal nasal spray, and you can find that on practicalpeptides.com. Cool. I kind of want to also, I don't know if we're carrying these right now, but we may in the future. I know the FDA recently semi banned kind of a gray area CJC, epimorlin, and BPC. And I know some guys were using that to get shredded before their exercises and to repair as well. And so I feel like it seems like we're going to have those back on our website here pretty soon, hopefully. Um, but the FDA seems to ban things that work.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about BPC and CJC?
Sure. Yeah. So back in September, the FDA reclassified 26 peptides. They reclassified them to class two, which class two peptides
Hmm.
means that they are unsafe or potentially harmful, which, just so happened that all those peptides were the ones that, were ones that were being used to really reverse and improve people's health, in massive ways.
Mm,
So, BPC
mm,
157 is one of them, CJC and ipamorelin, a combo. Those were both on the list as well. And there's been a lot of pushback from compounding pharmacies. There's actually a couple really massive compounding pharmacies that are suing the FDA, which to sue the FDA,
wow.
you don't just do that casually. They have to have a lot of,
Hmm.
clinical data and, human trials and things like that in order
Mm,
to push back on the FDA like that. And so, yeah, and there's also just, millions of people using these peptides safely. And so really,
mm,
yeah, there's there's a lot of reasons why those could have been reclassified, but regardless, we do have some pharmacies that are
Hmm.
now, despite the higher FDA scrutiny, they are choosing to compound these. And we have really awesome relationships with our pharmacy partners, and the reason why
Yeah.
these pharmacies are compounding them is because the owners themselves use these peptides
Hmm.
and have changed their lives with these peptides. They've recovered from
Hmm.
these injuries that doctors have said were just something that they were going to have to live with for the rest of their life. Constant pain and inflammation,
Hmm.
and they use BPC to recover from them, and so their ethos behind it is that
Hmm.
despite the scrutiny, they're going to continue compounding them. So, which we love because we also have seen
Yeah.
our patients change their lives with these. So,
Hmm.
yes, the BPC-157 is an awesome peptide for recovery. It's they all have funky names, right? Like they're
Hmm.
not easy to
Hmm.
memorize, but BPC stands for body protective compound, and it was originally isolated
Hmm.
from gastric juices in the stomach. So your stomach actually
Hmm.
is one of the most, has the highest turnover of cells in your body. It's constantly
Hmm.
repairing itself because it's constantly getting bombarded with, food and toxins
Hmm.
and, all sorts of things and, random stuff that's in our food. And so
Hmm.
really that signal, we talked about peptides being that signal, you turn on the switch and then something happens in your body. BPC, that switch, what it turns on is recovery and repair. So it improves angiogenesis, which means that it really promotes new blood vessel growth. It increases collagen, which is awesome for the structural component of repair, and then reduces inflammation, boosts nitric oxide. So really, just this again
Hmm.
pluripotent, multi-factorial approach to repair. And what we've seen with that is people recovering from, like I mentioned before, injuries that doctors have told them, oh, you just have to live with that tennis elbow,
Hmm.
or, you tore your ACL, you're just going to have to, get surgery, or, live with the effects. All sorts of soft tissue, tendons, ligaments, muscle tears, things like that. And also cognitive injuries, or people even like severing nerves and being able
Hmm.
to repair nerve damage. Another benefit, kind of going into some of the side effects or actually benefits, is that there's been some studies with BPC with people with methamphetamine induced brain damage. So people that have just really sort of blown out their dopamine uh,
Hmm.
receptors and neurons with overusing methamphetamines, they're able to use BPC 157 to repair that damage. So there's actually a lot of
Wow.
people using BPC to normalize their dopamine levels in their brain, and get off
Hmm.
stimulants, get off caffeine, and really just kind of normalize their brains to back before when they started you know, using stimulants or abusing stimulants. So a lot of
Hmm.
benefits there. And then, CJC apomorelin, those are more of the growth hormone releasing
Uh,
analogs.
Before we jump over there, I just kind of want to just this is really for me to kind of reiterate in my neural pathways what you just said. So BPC, wow, okay, so it's like from the gastric juices, and it produces increased blood flow, nitric oxide, which vasodilates the blood flow. So it's not only increasing new blood vessels, but vasodilates that. It's also sometimes regulating dopamine levels, which can help with addiction qualities and balance that out, even after someone has done meth and blown out their brain. Because I used to work in the ER, and like, as a psychiatrist, the meth addict, and like they would come through, and especially chronic meth users. And it's almost like when you see them, I mean, just from a frequency standpoint and looking at them, it's like, what the hell can we do to help this person? And you're
Mm.
telling me that BPC is so effective that the potentiality of actually helping a meth addict who's blown out their brain, and for anyone who's seen it, you've seen it, and the BPC is so powerful, it can help produce angiogenesis, blood flow, rebalance the brain, and help regrow nerve tissues. So anyone who's had like a cartilage damage, nerve damage, bone damage, whatever, like it can help repair that in a powerful way, which, I think most people out there have some type of minor injury that this could probably help. So That's amazing. Yeah. And it sounds like certain pharmacies, despite what the FDA has said, is going to bring it back because the owners of the pharmacy have literally benefited from it and they have all the data. So hopefully we'll be able to put that back up on the website here soon. BPC. Okay, let's transition over to CJC.
Yeah. Yeah, and just touching back on the dopamine too, like if you know, a lot of people they hear these words like dopamine and serotonin and things like that, but when you don't have enough dopamine, or when your body, you know, isn't able to register dopamine because you've like overstimulated those pathways, it's such a like an apathetic, dark place to be mentally. And you know,
Mm,
it's, you know, people that are, you know, their dopamine pathways aren't working, they're just living in a state of, it's almost painful, you know, nothing's exciting, nothing gives them that spark, that joy, that drive. And so being able to heal those
mm,
pathways and feel excitement about just the small things in life, you know, waking up and seeing, you know, the sunrise, or you know, a promotion at work, or you know, a phone call from a friend, you know, getting excited about those little things in life, like it's life changing, you
mm,
know. And it means that people aren't seeking constant stimulation from, you know, stimulants or porn or shopping, or you know, whatever people are using in an
mm,
unhealthy way to stimulate those dopamine pathways. We're able to regulate them down to a normal level to enjoy life
mm.
again. So yeah, I agree. It's a different world when you're able to regulate those naturally. So uh,
A whole new world. Just, I'm sorry, I had to do that. Okay,
a new
let's transition to,
fantastic
yeah.
portal.
Don't you dare close your eye. All right, CJC.
Yeah.
No, but that's a huge point Nicole just made as a psychiatrist. I mean, that's huge. When dopamine is not balanced, and I've had those dark days, like 4 major depressive episodes. There's apathy. It's called anhedonia. You don't want to do anything. You have no magic moments in the day. You're not finding pleasure from anything.
Mm,
It's insane. And then in that apathetic state with the load, you turn to quick fixes of hits to try to get dopamine hits, which leads to addictive, tendencies, which leads to all different types of things. So, wow, that's okay. So BPC can help people with that, balance their dopamine, which is good to know. Beautiful. Okay. Okay. CJC.
yeah. So CJC epimorelin, it's a combination of peptides. So they're both individual peptides. They're used in combination to
Hmm.
boost growth hormone. And growth hormone
Hmm.
is sort of like we talked about with NAD. Growth hormone is really high
Hmm.
when we're young. And that's why one of the reasons why kids are able to recover really well from injuries. You know, they're
Hmm.
you know, teenagers, they can work out once and put on a ton of muscle.
Hmm.
You know, they don't have
Hmm.
any issues with sleep. So really just helps with energy and vitality. It actually increases ATP, the actual energy in your cell, the currency of energy in your
Hmm.
cells. And then it decreases as we get older. So after about
Hmm.
30, growth hormone decreases about 15% for every decade of life. And so as we get older,
Hmm.
that's why it's, you know, harder to recover, a little bit less energy, you know, aches and pains. Our body's sort of putting all of its energy into just, you know, basic processes. And so it doesn't have enough energy to, you know, put on muscle and really grow and thrive in the way that we were used to when we were younger. And
Hmm.
so that's why when people think of aging, I've always just, you know, knowing what I know from regenerative medicine, when people say, you know, I'm aging, I'm
Hmm.
getting older, and I have these aches and pains, but it's just normal because I'm getting older. And I've always just pushed back against that. And I've said, like, no, it's not because you're getting older. It's because certain pathways in your body are deficient. And if you target those pathways and support those pathways, aging isn't the way that we perceive aging, in terms of, you know, slowing down and, you know, becoming more brittle and tired and weak. uh, that doesn't have to happen. And so
Hmm.
you know, these growth hormone releasing agonists, they help our body produce growth hormone. And they're a little bit different than just taking growth hormone. You know, there's
Hmm.
people are aware, I think, of growth hormone. You know, some like uh, baseball players are taking growth hormone, and you know,
Yeah.
just crushing it with, with their performance. But then there's like
Yeah,
negatives to that.
literally. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
There's negatives to taking growth hormone directly. It's what's called a negative feedback cycle when you just take straight growth hormone, because it goes into your body and then it signals to your pituitary gland that you have enough growth hormone, and so it shuts down your own production. And so taking growth hormone directly can have negative effects downstream, whereas these growth hormone releasing that bind to the growth hormone in the pituitary gland, they release growth hormone and they don't provide it endogenously. So the difference is that these can be taken long term without affecting your own supply. And so when you take these about five days a week injectables, they boost your own growth hormone, which helps people put on muscle, helps with deep sleep. We actually have one of our patients, who's a friend of ours as well. He reached out to me and was like, "Can I take this for the rest of my life?" Because just the deep sleep aspect, he's just sleeping deeper, which in deep sleep is when your body releases growth hormone. So that's, one of the benefits of it. And yeah, so deeper sleep help to put on muscle. So people cycle this when they're, lifting at the gym, and really you also need a signal from your body too. So in part of our coaching with Practical Peptides, we recommend, some sort of weightlifting activity, even if it's just body weight, to help signal your body to put on muscle. And then the cognitive benefits. So mental clarity, better memory, better focus, a lot of cognitive benefits with those, as well as reducing inflammation.
Wow. Yeah, I wasn't aware of all those benefits. I just knew that a lot of people use it, and they cycle on and off when they're working out and they get shredded. But it also seems like it has other potentially possible positive side effects: deep sleep, decreased inflammation, mental cognition. Amazing. Cool. So that's CJC, and beautiful. So I think we've hit a lot of kind of the major peptides. Nicole, is there any kind of like final words you want to say to people about peptides in general?
Yeah, I think with one of our educational points of the Practical Peptides, we just want to let people know that peptides are a great place to start for people. I see people, trying supplements and spending a ton of money on supplements and IVs and, detox kits and all these things. And really, in my experience, you can get the most bang for your buck is peptides. And so I feel like, getting some education, meeting with a provider that knows about peptides and can get to know your health history. It's just a good place to start for a lot of people.
Yeah, brilliant. Beautiful. So just kind of like an episode recap, if any of this resonates with you, we've launched www.practicalpeptides.com. You'll see the link in the show notes, and pure compound pharmaceutical grade, not research based, for human consumption. And as you've heard, hopefully, comes with an education, a provider consult delivered directly to your door with easy to use instructions. And I've had people who have literally, ordered research-based chemicals without the instructions, without all of the everything that they need to formulate it. And the feedback that I've received so far is like it can be confusing. And sometimes they actually waste the entire peptide bottle because they don't know how to reconstitute it. And then also over a long period of time, some people actually report side effects. So I think that's kind of why Dr. Huberman recommended in his podcast to go with a pure source. And so we take a lot of pride at Practical Peptides in producing high quality product with the education delivered straight to your door with everything you need to get started on your peptide experience. So if this resonates with you, check out www.practicalpeptides.com. I'm loving my focus. I'm getting stuff done. And yesterday I was driving home and I had this feeling, this wave, one of those feelings where you're like, wow, I was actually super productive today. And it's probably like the lift in mood too, but I just had this wave and, I felt amazing driving home after the day because I had literally, not in a rushed way, not in a jittery way, but had done a lot of stuff and completed a lot of stuff. And it feels great to create. So if you want to lose weight in a natural way, semaglutide, terzepatide. If you want to focus, the focus blend is out. Also, we'll start carrying CJC and epimorlin if you want to repair or build muscle in a natural way that works with your body. Check out www.practicalpeptides.com. You can use the code Dr. Lee for 10% off your order. And shout out Danielle. She's doing our provider consults, and the feedback we received so far is super positive. So if you want to learn a little bit more about peptides before purchasing, check out our provider consult page, and she'll be happy to educate you and lead you in the right direction there. So, and I just want to also shout out. I don't want to give it away, but we also have some stuff in the works in the future that we're really excited about. Not yet, but that might even be able to take peptides to the next level. And so a lot of these amazing technologies are coming forward and transform your health and if peptides resonate, check out practicalpeptides.com. Thanks for everybody who listened, and thank you, Nicole. Love you, appreciate you, so grateful for everything that you are. All right, till next time, beautiful souls. Love, light, peace, and truth to all sentient beings. Peace.
Thank you, Samuel. Honored to be here. Thanks for all that you do.